Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the A-Side. I am your host, Riley, and today we're going to be reacting to All Time Low. Now, here's the thing about All Time Low. Is they're a band that for a long time I really couldn't get into. I had a really hard time getting into them. But as the years go on, I've now heard most of their albums, except for maybe like 3 or 4, I think. And I've warmed up on them a lot more. I'm a lot less lukewarm. And I can say I do enjoy a good chunk of their albums. Future Heart, Nothing Personal, Wake Up Sunshine, and The Party Scene are all albums I enjoy. But I'm still kind of lukewarm on some of the other ones. So wrong, that's right. And then I haven't heard any of the other records yet. But a lot of people would put Don't Panic as their best album. A lot of people do. I've got a friend, I've mentioned before, Mikey really likes this album. ARTV put this as the best All Time Low album. I was scrolling through r/All Time Low earlier, and most people had this as their best record. I'm not going to say what my favorite All Time Low album is, because I plan on doing a ranking when I've heard all of them. But yeah, despite this being a lot of people's favorites, I've never heard it in full. I've only heard like the first 1 or 2 songs like years ago when I was still like not really a fan. And I didn't really like their music all that much. So I'm going to give it another try today. And I thought we should just listen to it all together. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's free. And you can always unsubscribe if you want. Also, let me know how my voice sounds. Like if it's too, if it sounds like really compressed and like distorted and loud. Because in the last video it did, and I don't know what happened. I think I fixed it from my tests, but let me know what you guys think. Anyway, let's get into it. Track 1, The Reckless and The Brave. Oh, this is like a classic, by the way. This record's like, a lot of people consider it to be like a pop punk kind of emo pop classic. I hate calling it emo pop because it's not really emo, but adjacent to that kind of scene, that kind of pop punk classic. Your Fall Out Boys, Panic at the Discos, yada yada, whatever. This is a big one. Like I said, I've never heard it. But we'll see. We'll see how good it really is. Long live the reckless and the brave. I don't think I wanna be saved. My song has not been sung so long. I forgot to mention this record came at a really tumultuous time for the band too, as the record that came out before this, they put out Nothing Personal, which is like a huge record, right? And they put out Dirty Work, which I've never heard, but a lot of people hate it. And they like left their major label, and this was their first like release after all that had happened, where they kind of were finding themselves again and putting themselves back out in the world. I think it was 2012 was when this came out. So, that's the context. Immediately, I don't like that opening melody here. Long live the reckless and the brave. I don't think I wanna be saved. You know, it's kind of... It sounded kind of cheesy. Let's continue. It's only like 7 seconds in. So that's the chorus's melody. To be honest, not huge on it. I don't know. It's got... Alex Cathcart's voice is very poppy. And I feel like a lot of... This song lacks a punch, in my opinion. Where I love pop punk, right? I'm not like a pop punk hater. And I enjoyed a lot of All Time Low's work. But I think this album trying to be more straightforward kind of misses a punch because Alex Cathcart and the production and everything is so poppy sounding that I feel like it just misses that oomph it should have. Of course, that's just the opening track. That's cool. I like this guitar part. I mean, compare these lyrics to other pop-punk bands, right? Long live the reckless and the brave. I don't think I want to be saved. My song has not been sung. Long live the reckless and the brave. So bands like... So All Time Low kind of falls, I think, in the middle era here. Between that kind of classic emo pop-punk era and then the 2010s kind of post-hardcore era, right? This era of, like, the post-hardcore pop-punk bands, you got a lot of bands that are just really, like, being very emotionally open and very real. Bands like The Story So Far, where Parker Cannon is just, like, throwing out all his, like, anger onto paper. The same with, like, Neck Deep or later Neck Deep, a lot of positivity on the paper. Or take a band like Newfound Glory, whose lyrics are very, like, real and emotional and hard-hitting and genuine. But then there are bands like Fall Out Boy or Panic at the Disco who have, like, these poetic, like, beautifully written lyrics. Whereas these lyrics kind of just feel like they're falling by the wayside. They don't really hit me as being super, like, genuine or, like, specific to, like, a real situation or to these feelings. And they also kind of aren't, like, beautifully written or anything. I'm not, like, saying they're a poser or it's bad. It's just, like, not really doing anything for me. So I think I know why I never made it past the first song or two when listening to Don't Panic. Because this song was a whole lot of nothing, really. And I love pop punk. I really do. I mean, I'm looking at my record collection over here. I even have an All Time Low album here in my record collection. I have Future Hearts on vinyl. But yeah, that song was really just very uninteresting. I don't think it did anything too cool musically. The production was kind of clean. Alex's vocals didn't really do much for me. And I didn't think the lyrics were all that interesting. I thought the melodies felt cliched. It wasn't a horrible song by any means. I'm not pointing at it as to be like garbage, but it just felt derivative, which is weird because this is like a classic. I know it's a classic, but I don't know. I'm gonna give The Reckless and the Brave the black GameCube controller. So if you're new around here, I rate records a certain way, right? If I like a song, I say it's green. If I dislike it, I say it's red. I think it's meh, or kind of just there. I give it the black GameCube controller. Because I rate things with colors, because I'm a child. It's a black GameCube controller. It's fine, it's okay, it's there. But it's not great. Like I said, I don't want to talk too much about how I feel about the other all-time low albums because I don't want to give anything away. But I already mentioned I don't really like So Wrong It's Right. I feel like So Wrong It's Right is an album that is trying to take pop punk and, like, really, like, make it mainstream. And it's very obvious they're trying to, like, hit the radio and hit the mainstream with it. So it's very poppy, very polished, very, mainstream. I feel like outside of that, it doesn't have much personality. So that's not a record I like very much, and I'm kind of feeling the same about this song. But, hey, maybe it will improve. Backseat Serenade. Lazy lover, find a place for me again. You felt it once before. I like the guitar effect, that's pretty cool. don't know. It's really just not hitting, you know? It's so much more pop than punk. And if that's up your alley, that's cool. But it's not really up mine. Especially this record of what? Like I said earlier, 2012? 2012 is when Don't Panic came out. This is the same year that we got, Under Soil and Dirt. I think this is when, like, the first Neck Deep EP came out, with, I think it was Rain in July. And these records really started to push pop punk into that new direction that kind of dominated, like, the early to mid 2010s, where it really kind of became a different scene, still very inspired by earlier bands, but more so inspired by, like, Newfound Glory, and then a lot of, like, the emo and post-hardcore stuff, where it got a lot angrier, a lot more aggressive, a little more, like, yelly, whereas this record still feels very much in All Time Low's past. It feels very much like they're still trying to do this mass-appealing pop, like, high schoolers are going to listen to this, and it's going to be, like, in a teen movie, and it was kind of past this era, and I don't know, it doesn't really hold up for me so far. This video is going to get, like, totally dislike bombed. I'm sorry, All Time Low fans. I'm not going into this record with a bad mindset. I was literally just bumping Future Hearts in my car, like, before I, like, recorded this video. I went to get something to eat and listened to Future Hearts, was listening to it, came in from getting home, and started this recording. So it's nothing against All Time Low, it's just certain aspects of their music don't work for me. I like that guitar a lot. It's a nice little break. But I'm starting to understand now, re-listening to this. Because like I said earlier, I haven't heard this whole record in full. I had only, like, ever listened to the, like, first one or two songs and could never get past them. And I realize now why. Because these are just very derivative. They're boring. They're uninteresting. I mean, I could go listen to Future Hearts or Nothing Personal, or any other pop-punk album from the 2000s and late 2000s, early 2010s, you know? If I want that hit of really poppy pop-punk, I'm gonna listen to Nothing Personal. Because that's at least fun. This really isn't.
Backseat Serenade.
And at least So Wrong It's Right has Dear Maria, which is an amazing song. In a sea of mid. Also, the song feels rather repetitive, too. I know pop-punk isn't the most, like, experimental, mind-melting genre, but it usually doesn't feel this repetitive. Man, this is just not doing it for me. It just seems so gutless and boring and uninteresting. Yeah, I'm gonna give it the black GameCube controller, too. I know I sound so fucking pretentious right now, but trust me, I do really love pop-punk. Here, just give me a minute. Now, before you write me off as some pretentious, Fantano... a lot of people hate pop-punk in the music critic scene. Fantano, bad taste in music. A lot of people see it as a joke. A lot of people hate pop-punk, right? And before you write me off as some pretentious music nerd that hates pop-punk and doesn't do with it, I'm not. Pop-punk is probably my second favorite genre of all time, behind emo. And to prove it, Here's some just a couple pop punk records I picked out of my collection. Here is So Wrong It's or Future Hearts on blue, black, and white vinyl. It's a tricolor vinyl. Here's the 20th anniversary Enema of the State. Sticks and Stones by Newfound Glory. The record All Time Low gets their name from. I bought this at a Newfound Glory concert. Proper Dose by The Story So Far. Probably one of the main reasons this channel exists. An album that changed my life. My 2018 album of the year. 2018 was the first year I started following new music and really caring about it. And this was my album of the year that year. Changed my life. And if you can't split out, my favorite album of all time. These are just a handful of pop punk records I have on vinyl. I've got Fall Out Boy's first couple of records. I've got Paramore. I've got, of course, the rest of Panic's discography. Actually, I don't have Vices yet. But another great record. I have Nothing Personal on CD. So I just want you all to know this, if I continue to dislike this album, that it's not the genre, it's me. Anyway, that was a fucking sidetrack. Next track, If These Sheets Were States. I'm lost in empty pillow talk again. I like the piano. I think the song sounds pretty good so far. It's got a nice driving guitar. It's pretty fun chorus. That's a really cool lyric. This room's become a mausoleum filled with relics of regret, paying dues to every moment wasted on words left unsaid. See, these lyrics are more like it. This is like the pop punk, like, melodrama I come for. What other genre are you gonna get a line like, this room's become a mausoleum filled with relics of regret, paying dues to every moment wasted on words left unsaid, collisions of a finer love I'd kill for one more way, to tell you how you make me better every day. That's classic. That would be an album I'd consider a classic. It's more like it. I really like that part too. I'm lost in pillow talk again. That's a really cool part. Nice drum-like little section as well. Oh, and some bass? See, now this record is starting to have some light. Those first two songs, man, felt so, like, overproduced and, like, almost, like, homogenous. Like, it was just sound coming out of my headphones. Now it feels like a band, like a really living, breathing band. I'm lost in empty pillow talk. That's a really, like, good melody. Pillow talk again. That's what I came here for. Some great, like, mellow. I don't want to use the word melodramatic because it seems negative. There's a negative connotation to it. Because the melodramatic can be negative, but in this case, it's positive. Maybe just normal dramatic, kind of dramatic, like dark, like kind of humorous lyrics. And the melodies were just fun. The guitars were driving and interesting. The band felt like it was breathing more rather than being produced into just a one, like, plastic piece of fucking noise. This was a big step up. I actually really liked If the Sheets Were States. I had a really good time with this song. I'll give that the green. Picking up. We're picking up now. Next track. Somewhere in Neverland. That's a very... Immediately hit you with the drums. That's great. Maybe just the first two songs fucking suck and the rest of this record is great. Really cool, like, guitar there, too. That's an awesome riff. It's a little on the nose. Oh, cool, like, double track vocals. Man, drumming's excellent on this song. Alex really used, and that Wendy, he really used the power in his voice to make just a great, like, emotion punch of a chorus. Yeah, he really used his voice to his advantage there, and that was an amazing part. I just did a total 180 on this record. I, like, was so bored for the first two songs, and now I'm, like, in love with this. Oh, the drumming! So good, dude! Yeah, man, Alex is really using his voice very well in this song. A lot of emotion, a lot of power behind it. And this chorus is just really nostalgic sounding, too. Which I guess, yearning for, like, youth and forever youth, to make it sound so nostalgic is pretty impressive. See, these last two songs are songs I would consider to be on a classic record, you know? I'd hear this and be like, oh, that album could be a classic. Of course, it won't be a pop-punk album with what uh-ohs, you know? I love this chorus so much. That song was great. Like, really great. Like, amazing. That gets the green. It's easily the best song so far. The drumming on the song was awesome. And Alex's vocals, man, he did such a good job, especially in that chorus, putting so much energy and emotion and power into it. He really nailed it with the vocals on this track. And the chorus really had this, like, nostalgic wash to it. It really had that, like, kind of makes me think of, like, the past, or, like, growing up in the 2000s with pop punk all around in the late 2010s, like, going to the beach with my family, you know, sister putting in a CD she used to like, All Time Low, and that's, like, it really just brings me back. to like the nostalgia of those days, like going to the beach as a kid and just having fun, no worries, and they really just nailed that with the feel here. That was great. So this next song is "So Long Soldier" featuring Anthony Ranieri. Oh, a little heavy, a little crunchier. That sounds great. Oh, the drumming here is awesome too. See, this song is hitting. It's got the speed, it's got the crunch to the guitars, it's got the drumming, man. I love this. This is my bag. Making wishes on us. That's an awesome lyric. Man, the drumming is really just making the speed of this song so good. The breakneck pace is great. It's not often I react to something that is like really within my wheelhouse too. Like I often react to like things like I haven't really heard before, you know, that I don't really come from those backgrounds, and they're new things to me. Like, you know, I'm listening, like, the Church's video is really big, so, like, synth pop, very much outside the realm of what I would typically go to, you know? Whereas this, like, pop punk, emo, like, 2000s alt rock, like, that area of music, you know, bands like Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, Modern Baseball, Newfound Glory, The Story So Far, Neck Deep. Like, these are, like, my favorite bands. Like, these are the things I come to over and over again and keep listening to. So then getting to actually react to something that's, like, a classic album in that field I haven't heard is rare. So it's been a lot of fun as these songs start to pick up and having a really good time. Yeah, man, the drumming. I just love how fast and energy and, like, it gets your heart racing, man. Man, what can I say about So Long Soldier? I mean, the band was just firing on every cylinder to make an absolute banger that was just a blast to listen to from beginning to end. From the, like, breakneck, both pace and drumming, to, like, a really heavy guitar. Like, not really heavy, but really kind of cranked up the crunchiness a little bit. From the last couple of songs. That was great. Also gets the green. Funny how I went from being like, blah, to like, wow, this is great. Really, really poor album sequencing on this band's part. I mean, those first two songs being the opener had turned me off from this record for so long. And usually I do stick it through, but in my earlier days, I didn't really do it as much. And this was like a band I was early to check out, because it's like, you know, Mark Hoppus worked with Alex Gaskarth on, like, Simple Creatures and stuff. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is a band I should probably check out at some point. Yeah. Anyway, the irony of choking on a lifesaver is such a good title. That's like a great pop punk title. I could see that in, like, Midwest emo too. That's awesome. Stop fucking around with my emotions. I like you better when you're numb. Suck it up and let it go. You're always out to get me. You're the snake hidden in my daffodil. That was weird. The key changed, like, mid-phrase? And not, like, in a key... It's just, like, the key changed in such a whim. It's kind of really off-putting. like the chorus though. It's got like a... I like its kind of rhythm. I still don't like that key change. I don't like key changes in general, but throwing it... I'll put it this way. It's an idea. It's a fresh idea. It's a new idea. They tried something different. They tried an experiment, and I respect them for that. I don't think it works. Yeah. So that song tried some stuff, like the effect, like the bit of a... like a tinny effect on Alex's voice, and it does like the key change in like mid-sentence, and then it had that like chorus that had like an interesting rhythm to it, and some of it did not work, but some of it did. And you know, it's definitely far from the worst song on the record, and it's a step down from the last couple of tracks that were really good, but I still enjoyed that, so I'm gonna give it... I'm going to put like a little asterisk next to it because it's not as like a strong of a like a commendation. But I'm going to give it the green still. Anyway, the next track, To Live and Let Go. That's cool. This has got like a bit of a like slight like almost like Beatley psychedelia to it. With the way like the melodies up here were like kind of like swirling in a way, and like the guitars were like feedbacking in like slowly like coming in. It almost reminds me a little bit of, like, Tomorrow Never Knows in a weird way. It's, like, weirdly, like, Beatley, psychedelic-y for a pop-punk song. It's a really cool touch. That's that part right there. And the way the guitars are like chopped up as they come in. That's cool. That's like really like psychedelic for pop punk, and it feels so cool. I mean, the chorus doesn't carry that into it. It's more of a normal chorus, but it's still a pretty good chorus. Yeah, the verses did some really cool things with the sound, incorporating that kind of Tomorrow Never Knows-y thing with like the fading in guitars and the other guitars that were like chopped up, so it was like and of course like those kind of swirling melodies, do 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 do. I can only really describe them as swirling because that's what it makes me think of, like a swirl of like colors. Or like a swirl of like multicolored like water like you'd see in like a drug trip scene in like a movie. It had this kind of psychedelic druggy feel to it, which is weird for pop punk. Maybe I'm just like picking up on something that's not there. Maybe I look fucking stupid. But I heard it and I thought it was cool. So To Live and Let Go gets the green too. I mean, it's even got kind of like that, like, Beatley psychedelic kind of name to it. I mean, Within You, Without You, Tomorrow Never Knows, and To Live and Let Go. Have I sold it to you yet? Anyway, Outlines featuring Jason Venna. Ooh, I like that guitar. Ba-da-na. Ooh. That's so cool. Where the rest of the band joins him on the vocals on the very last word of the phrase. That's really cool. And there's also like a cool like synth electronic thing going on too. I'm just a moment, so don't let me pass you by. That's a cool lyric. Such a good chorus. It's almost got, the riff is almost a little dancey. Like the beat of the drums and like the rhythm of the riff. Felt dancey. A flicker of a soul casting silhouettes on a face of a town that could not get me to stay. Now compare that to like the lyrics on like The Racket and the Brave or like Backseat Serenade, and it's night and day, those derivative boring lyrics versus like this cool like dark, like twisted, not even dark and twisted, just like dramatic like poetry. I don't want to use the word poetry because I hold the word poetry to more abstract things, like something like Morrissey or Isaac Wood would write. But regardless, I think the lyricism here is really interesting. Yeah, that was another great track, man. I loved that. It was just really well done, and I thought that chorus was like really danceable and just so enjoyable, man. It's the green too. Man, this record's impressing me so far. I've loved it. Besides those first two tracks, I've loved pretty much everything. I get why it's a classic now, and I get why Riley of like fucking 4 years ago should have fucking been patient. Anyway, thanks to you. That's a cool guitar riff. Almost reminds me of something that you'd find on like Title Fight's Floral Green. What is it? Maybe it came out after this? Yeah, no, Floral Green came out the same year as this, interestingly enough. That riff reminded me a lot of Floral Green. Really great album, by the way. If you've never heard Title Fight's Floral Green, highly recommend. Especially if you like All Time Low. It's a little heavier, a little more hardcore, a little dreamier in places, but definitely worth listening to. That's biting. Oh, that's a biting lyric though. There's and thanks to you for all the nightmares. There's not a night I sleep quiet and complacent without my medication. That's really good imagery. Cause there's this ringing in my head as the ghost of you hangs over my bed. I really can imagine that. Yeah, wow. Another just great track, dude. Another one I've just loved. Was just so... pop punk has this really good balance of being emotional and emotionally resonant and sometimes angry and sometimes sad, but the music is still really fun to listen to, and it's like punchy and fun, and you can like, it's very summery, roll down your windows, sunny melodies and like loud guitars, but it also is like lyrically genuine and will still like, you can listen to it when you're in a good mood or when you need solace. Like, I love pop punk, dude. It's the best genre out there. Thanks to You is another great song. That gets the grade. Now an ode to their hometown for Baltimore. Now hopefully I don't get shot while listening to this song. Is that in poor taste? I know Baltimore can be pretty crime-ridden, so, yeah. Hopefully I don't get canceled for that. Anyway, for Baltimore. That sounds very, very Future Hearts, interestingly enough. So you can tell where they're about to go in their next record, too. This is my Future Hearts record, by the way. Sick, isn't it? Barnes & Noble. Quite a while ago now. Yeah, I like that one too. Definitely not. I mean, it's just good, man. It's not, doesn't like expand on the sound or anything. It's not like, oh, they're throwing a curveball by the end of the album. No, it's just fucking good pop punk, dude. That gets the green. This album is a lot more consistent than I thought it would be at the beginning. I know I keep like referencing back to that, but my god, what an improvement. Yeah, Paint Your Wings. I believe this is the penultimate track. It is. This video has been really long. It'll be significantly shorter when you're watching it, because there's like a lot of stuff I'll probably edit out. But woof, this I talked a lot this video. I initially thought I wouldn't have a lot to say, but apparently I did. Anyway, I can talk for hours. Paint Your Wings, All Time Low, Don't Panic, the A-side. 2020, the first video of 2023 too. Is it? Actually, it's not. The first reaction of 2023. That's not in tune. Maybe it is in tune, but those melodies are like a weird, odd. Like the note, like Alex is singing the note the guitar on, like, we're at like a weird juxtaposition to each other. I didn't like it. Yeah, I don't like this. That was a little, blunt. Yeah, but, you know, you hear it, right? I feel like the guitar and the vocals here are on two different wavelengths, and they're just really clashing for me, and they're cluttering my space. They're cluttering my happiness, in the wise words of Lois Griffin from Family Guy. Hey, Lois. Lois, look. I'm reacting at All Time Low on YouTube, Lois. Frisky until you got sick of me. I was never good enough to be anything but a remedy to all of your constant pressing needs, and I never learned. So I painted a picture of the things I want. Yeah, that song, I think the good did outweigh the bad. There were more good things I liked about this song than bad things I disliked. Yet I still don't know if I would really come back to it unless I were doing full album listens, like on a road trip or something. But if I was just like throwing this, like, if I was like going to the store and only a couple of minutes away, I would be skipping this song. This would be the one I would go to. So I'm gonna give it a very high Black GameCube controller, because like I said, I think the things I did like outweighed the things I didn't, but there was enough I didn't like, and it showed up often enough, that I wouldn't come back to the song only on occasion, I think. Still, this has been an excellent album so far. And we're here at the end. So long, and thanks for the booze. Pick yourself up off the ground. You sure sound too good to let them hold you down. Man, that really hit when it all just like came rushing in. The way they did that made it feel like it just came rushing into you, like a rush of adrenaline. Why is that guitar riff like fucking Master of Puppets? Like, it just gets like really like weirdly intense, like, and then all of a sudden fucking goes to that. I think that was the riff to Sink Anchor, actually. I think fucking Master of Puppets like something like that. Fucking okay, we gotta listen to Master of Puppets real quick. Yeah, You know, I'm really not the biggest Metallica fan, but that riff is fucking sick. Anyway, it's not a bad thing. This isn't a criticism. I just thought it was kind of funny that... Ready? Right? Like, it's fucking, like, almost, like, thrash metal-esque fucking guitar. And then into, like, a super poppy chorus. And now, all-time low fans, you're not gonna be able to hear that. It sounds like Master of Puppets. It rocks, I'm not gonna lie. The pre-chorus. This is where the song shines. I think the intensity kind of gets turned up here. Master! Master! Obey your master! Yeah, and that's the record. Oh, hey, one of the fucking best pop punk songs ever, Kelly My by Knock Deep. Anyway, that's the record. Wow, yeah, you know, I feel like I've completed an arc in my life now. From not being the biggest all-time Low fan, never being able to get into this album, never being able to get to the second track, to getting to the end and saying I actually think this might be one of their best. I probably wouldn't put it at number one at the moment. Maybe upon re-listens I would. I'm gonna rank All Time Low's albums. Don't expect it soon, but it's gonna happen. Because I was listening to Future Hearts, and I was like, I need to fucking rank this band's discography. And I need to talk about the party scene in that video. Because it's not on Spotify, and it's on some, like, random, like, old, long defunct, like, record label, like Emerald Moon or some shit like that. And it's a really good record. And nobody talks about it. I was looking at rankings of All Time Low albums online. Nobody mentioned it. Alex Gascard did a ranking for some article, for some news company, and didn't include it either, but he included the Put Up or Shut Up EP. And I mean, the Party Scene is a really good record. Anyway, some final thoughts here on this record. It really started with a stumble, like it stumbled into existence. And that's part of the reason why I never finished this album, is because the first two songs are genuinely really bad. Like, the Reckless and the Brave and Backseat Serenade are, like, both genuinely some of, like, the most derivative, most uninteresting, boring, like, pop-punk songs we've ever heard. And that's coming from someone who adores this genre, as you saw my reaction to the rest of these songs. Love them. Once it started to get going on if the sheets were states, once that steam started like rolling, this record was pretty fucking stellar. And I can see why it's considered a classic. But man, is the Honestly, this should have just been a 10-track album that started with If the Sheets Were. Like, imagine if that were the opener. That could have been a better opener than fucking... Like, doesn't that just sound like tired and like cliched? Like, man, we've been doing this for too long. Just give me money. Yeah, I feel like this album should have been 10 tracks, starting with If the Sheets Were States. Because it fucking really opens poorly. But man, once it gets going, and it's an excellent record. I highly recommend any fans of pop punk or like emo adjacent music or like pop punk adjacent music. There's kind of like a Venn diagram. A lot of people like All Time Low definitely falls firmly on the pop punk side, but a lot of people who like emo like pop punk and vice versa. But there is that little overlap of like pop punk and emo. I'm wasting time right now, I know, but I want to like, you got like bands that are like firmly pop punk, right? Like Green Day, Blink-182, All Time Low, New Found Glory, and you've got like your firmly emo bands like taking third wave emo, of course, Taking Back Sunday and like Brand New. But then you got those bands like in the middle, like Cute Is What We Aim For, where like I would never call Cute Is What We Aim For pop punk, but they're also like way too like glitzy and pop to be emo, so they like fit in this weird like middle ground. And anyway, I'm babbling on about something that's not relevant right now. I would give, upon first listen, I would give Don't Panic a 7+ to an 8-. I really enjoyed this record. What do you think of Don't Panic? Is this your favorite All Time Low record? If not, what is? Leave a like if you want to see me react to Dirty Work and Last Young Renegades, which are the ones I haven't heard yet. So yeah, I had a really good time making this video, and I hope you had a good time watching it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.